Hi, everybody. We're getting closer to Christmas, just in case you haven't noticed. And it's really interesting. In Ottawa, you can really tell that the climate has changed quite a bit so far. The odd year we've had not very much snow and kind of chilly, and we're concerned for the trees. And now our temperature is a little bit higher, and still not very much snow. However, maybe what we'll find is we'll have a little bit of warmer weather, and then we'll get the deluge pretty soon. Hope everyone is doing well. We have a few questions. Strangely enough, two questions are very, very similar. And let's see here. This one is from Pat Donahue, and she says, I have a question. Today I felt myself to be in a kind of flow that I think comes from an increase in energy. It feels good, and I interacted with students and others I encountered in ways that felt positive and caring. I come up with a whole list of people I wanted to reach out to because I was feeling love towards them. These lists come to me often when I'm meditating. As I listen to you talk about that self-love we have, and looking back on the day, I saw how I use that energy towards expressing some of the versions I have of self-love. None of it bad, but meant to make me feel good about myself. When I have days like that, and this is all related to that same day, when I have days like that where I notice a flow, it occurs to me that I could be spending that energy in ways that would be more helpful to myself and others. I can ask for help to soften that down. What happens then? And what else can I do to handle that energy differently? And that is really interesting, Pat. You know, we do have a reflex inside ourselves to almost automatically second guess ourselves, which, by the way, seems to be what you might have done there as well, but nonetheless normal and natural. The business of having that flow when it occurs is kind of wonderful. And as long as we could try and remember that it does happen, and from time to time, we are capable of being aware of it. Other times, maybe not so much, but lean on the times, as you have done, lean on those times and try to remember when they occur. If you're having not so great a day, remember them while you're not having that great a day, and try and relate to it the best you possibly can. And that will be helpful to you. You did everything exactly the way you needed to do it, or that might have been helpful on that day. You were around others. You engaged with others. You were aware of that flow. And that's all you need to be. If you can recall that others interact with you, remember those images that we showed where one person is on talking to another person, and we showed the Zephyroth, or the chakras, in behind, and one center is a little bit more activated in one person, and another center is a little bit more activated in another, and they're helping each other, either knowing that or not knowing that. It's our natural tendency in our world not to notice that. the bulk of our populations don't notice it. But they add words. I enjoy being around so-and-so. If that energy affects you in a way that you are not happy with, because you have internal natural responses that say that you need to protect yourself against shifting or changing anything, then you will feel less happy. Our dilemma most of the time is we have been involved with life for a number of years, and no matter how many they are, and we're engaging in a way that feels relatively valued by us. Usually that means we're pretty consistently involved the way we have been, and we express and engage that way because we believe that that's how we have to be. It isn't necessarily true that that's how we have to be, but we can be many different ways and at many different times. What you noticed there was that you had an increased ability to perceive energy flowing in a certain kind of a way. That's very valuable. It's the increasing of perception which allows you to notice that. Other days you may be focused on some things that need to be, or that you feel are important to focus on in that day, and you may not feel that flow in the same way. From time to time, most folks can learn how to perceive that flow because it's always with us. Now, it's true that we can use that flow in any which way we believe we need to in how we engage with life. Or we can slow it down and just focus on the flow. Just not necessarily coming up with an idea about how it has to be or why it has to be that way. Just be aware of the flow and engage with life right there. We're not trained that way, but this is a way that you can become more familiar with that flow, because you can train the brain to say it's okay if you are aware of it, and you can engage with it in a more, let's say, a kinder manner, recognizing that it can be really gentle, or it can actually copy exactly the intensity that you have and that you use in engaging with others every day of your life. And this is a complicated thing because, as we often talk about, our engagement with how we need to be is generated in the early goings of a life. We don't see our personality as a tool to be used to engage with life, which it really is. We see it as, this is the way I am, and that's the only way I can be. Often, part of that is true. Often, part of that is not true. We can learn new things. We can engage in different ways. And also, we can learn how to just watch, just perceive. That also is tainted by our vulnerability. We have been hurt many times in our lives, and we still carry those hurts with us, and we often attend to them more often than is probably necessary. But nonetheless, it's very difficult to say that that would be perfectly true in every case, because we have been let's say, taught that we have to be a certain way to guard ourselves against being vulnerable. This is very difficult for us as human beings, but it's the nature of it is very normal. And normalization can be a valuable thing unless you want to excel at being however you think you are. And in that particular case, most of us have been trained that if you don't stand out in some way, no matter what it looks like, you're not as valuable as you have been pressed to think you need to be a good human being. And this is a dilemma in the nature of our learning how to function on these planes. It's real, and we don't like the fact that it's real, and we do like the fact that it's real. So this is one thing that is, what I would suggest is that this flow is a service form. It's very interesting. The answer will be very similar to the next question. But let me see if I left anything out, Pat, when I was trying to look at it so that I could get an angle on it. On the other days when you're not feeling that wondrous softness and that flow, try to soften. Remember when you are out in the world, focus through the chest and behind you, and draw your attention upward into the space above your head, and then slowly bring it down between your eyebrows. And if you can, raise your focus up a little bit higher, about half an inch. What does that do? It allows you to be willing, and let's say to be reminded, you remind yourself of allowing yourself just to let go of you and enjoy how that perception is then. And you can ask for help for anyone around you. Now, it depends on the belief system, of course. If you don't want to ask for help for anybody around you, ask for help for yourself. It depends on the day. You can do that without perceiving energy as well. And you can allow yourself to be okay and almost transparent, because that flow can engage with others in the same way as those two images engage with each of us that we have seen a number of times in relationship to the effects of energy from another in terms of being helpful. This is a really key thing because of the idea that we are energy beings, of course. And we don't see ourselves naturally and normally that way because our fundamental perceptions are geared to these planes. So you're an energy form geared to these planes. Look in the mirror, you don't see the energy necessarily. Some might see some. But you do see a facsimile of a form relative to these planes that is inhabited by, let's say, hard with the words, a soul, a being of consciousness. And we've forgotten that that's what we are. But we're focused here, being forms necessarily important so that we can survive here. Interesting thing. Very hard to verbalize. Let's see. Ask for the kind of help for others and you that you need to grow internally and to be able to help more. Also ask for the ability to handle that kind of an energy flow that would be truly needed to be helpful. And really try to remember that a version, when that flow is obviously clear to you, that service is the point of reference. You don't have to do anything other than just be you. Engage with the world and enter into it in some way, some form. Even if you are shopping at some store, that's fine. That's an engagement with the world and with others. And at that time, you're also engaging with the species, because the species is always engaging with you. Hard concept to remember, but nonetheless very important to try and just allow yourself to recall that might be a helpful thing. It's a dilemma when we start making sense of things. Naturally and normal, and you have to do this. You use the fitting or the structure that you've developed for a purpose relative to these planes. And you have, you go out and you make a living and you engage in certain ways. You work hard to prepare yourself to do whatever it is that you think you need to do. And you continue to brush up on things so that you're still able to do these things. And in fact, that thing that you're constructing all the time, or adjusting, or maintaining, is your personality form. And it's an energetic structure. Why? Because you take energy, that sense of flow or that loving, and you use it to construct a formidable, more physically focused system, and emotionally focused system, of course. Can't leave that out. And one would say, or could say, a mentally focused system relative to how you see that. And that form that you have is something that is valuable to you in exactly the way you think it should be, but at the same time, it's also how others think it should be. We think we're very independent, but we're not as independent as we believe, because we've been constructed in a kind of way, in a similar form. I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
I'm around dust. Can't help it.
No, I cleaned.
Sorry, guys.
I cleaned.
Marlene says she cleaned, but the very act of cleaning causes dust. Sorry about that. I have a wonderful response to dust. So, when you're dealing with this, and this is true of all of us, by the way, there's no exceptions in this, but what they're doing, what we do is we cultivate a relationship with adulthood from the time that we're born. And we have these forms in front of us that say, this is what an adult should be. And they're constant reminders. That's fine. That's what they need to do so we can construct something. Later on, you're allowed to make some changes, but by later on, you may decide you don't want to because you hadn't thought of it, or don't know what you really are involved with, or how you express yourself even. That's well hidden. And subtly, we begin to notice a little bit. We've also been taught to judge that. What a disappointment. it's not real. That judgment might easily be shifted to noticing, watching, recognizing, and being curious and wondering if in some ways you can shift a bit if you see something, and then you might even be resentful because you have to shift something. Well, you don't have to. There's no rule or law that says you don't. But the difficulty is you spend a lot of time protecting how that form has been constructed without knowing you're doing it. That's part of the beginning to increase perception. That business that we've been talking about quite often, actually. And at the same time, living life. Oh, yeah, you fail at this, you succeed at that, you do this really well, you don't do that really well. And somehow there's a rule. You have to do things well to be valued. It's not true. It's not even real. That may be a shock to some. But when you do things, you have this kaleidoscope of emotional responses that value and devalue how you functioned. And in fact, you can do things rather well on one day even and not very well on another. Most sports people find that out all the time. It's very frustrating. They're a superstar on Tuesday, and by Thursday night when they're playing again, they're just a normal player. This happens often. The same is true with normal personalities. So then they drum up all kinds of reasons why this happens or that happens. They're not excuses. They were just trying to help themselves to understand things. And that's okay. However, as that energy flows more, you begin to realize there's all kinds of holes in a construct that relates to having to be perfect to be valuable. Because that's not real. Everyone is valuable right from the first day of their existence. Everybody. And what they do is engage with how they are able to make sense of the world and themselves. And if they can't do that, they blame everybody else. Or they look for reasons that are similar, unknown to them, to past engagements with experience, where they have seen others that do according to them very well, and they emulate those. And these are subtleties, and sometimes not that subtle. That's still using energy. So when you have an increase in that flow, it can become lovely and beautiful. But if it's not in alignment with how things should be, according to how you've been trained, it's very difficult. And if you happen to be a normal person, you have both trainings in you. It can be beautiful or it can be not so great. So we're learning how to watch that as opposed to judge it. And how to defend an individual is very scary stuff. Because when you defend, you're holding yourself in abeyance as some things that are valuable that is not quite as valuable as you think, or others are worse than what you think. Everyone knows that none of us are perfect in this process of growth. Everyone must know that. And that might be a reality for some, but at the same time, judging others is another reality that relates directly to judging yourself. And it's very difficult to stop because you've been trained to do that. This is wrong and that's right and that's it. Well, that happens to all of us sometimes. And you hope it doesn't happen all the time. Because if you do, you're going to miss it. Because that becomes a pillar of value within the construct of your personality. And that's hard to see. Because it's harder to see for all kinds of wonderful reasons. You don't want to be hurt by it. So the idea is not being hurt is a key thing. You become extremely sensitive to the hurts that might be upon you. You might feel it inside, and you don't understand that those hurts may be perpetrated by the construction of that form we call personality. And there's no negativity attached to that. It's just how we've been engaged with life for purposes that are unknown to us. I kind of figure that some of those folks work deeper in a relationship with attempting to help humanity in the hurt level. And that's a tough one. That's very difficult. And it's so difficult to make sense of. But one thing's for sure. We should not devalue that because we don't understand it too well. That would be a protection of our own state of engagement as a valuable person versus others, that kind of thing. Well, since we're all human, sometimes we will do that, and other times we won't. One thing is called, when you don't, you have compassion. When you do, you have the need to do so because you're hurting somehow. And if you were doing that, you wouldn't want to see yourself doing that, whatever that is. So you protect yourself. And you gear yourself up to devalue. Because that's the nature of somehow. Many of us have been trained from the beginning. Not negatively, just to be very attentive to the need to be more valued, more right than wrong. And therefore, others, if they're wrong more often. Or they're truly wrong. And the more you intensify, the more you're protecting your nervousness, unknown to you, or your fear from doing the same thing from time to time, which you will do. Your version, not anybody else's. It's very difficult. So Pat's question in relationship with engaging when that flow is being perceived is amazingly valuable. Get out there. Go shopping. Go engaging with people someplace along the line. And let that flow remain. Hold it in a soft way. And tell it, I don't want it to go away. Leave it there. As long as I can handle just being in a place where help might be given through, not from us. I wish you well with that, Pat. It's an amazing thing when we feel those kinds of things. if we don't feel them very often, but we do feel them from time to time, remember them when you're not feeling very well. Please, it will help you. Now here's the one other question that is very similar. When you mentioned in 2019, I don't remember what year it was, sorry, Carol, that changes, new energy was coming into the plane. I did not comprehend the enormity and the impact of those words and how wide it has spread into every corner of life. The question is how the effect will impact on us, and importantly, what is asked of us? How do we help? Once again, this is a question related to energy. There is from my perspective, remember, a new flow that began roughly in about 1973. My view. You don't have to agree with this. This is just my view. Energy coming in slightly different to help, like a catalyst, to help us to become more able to perceive energy without elevating the personality related to the perceiving. This is not normal for our world. As we begin to perceive energy, and whether it's through our eyes or perception related to our sensate processes, there has always been a stigma attached to it related to you're more important than anybody else. This is a dilemma in our world, especially when you're engaged with higher states, meaning you're linked up to an inner form related to the soul. We use this word all the time, or a universal energy that individual then has somehow being elevated into an important place. It's a dilemma in the sense that if that individual has been internally linked somehow to another level, then it's still linked to this one. And by the indulgence of an engagement with being more important than everybody else, automatically, that is the way things are here on these planes. That means you're just another person with a broader perception. Doesn't mean you're bad, but it just means you're not necessarily linked up to a higher state. You're linked up to a broader perception. And this is valuable, depending on how you function with it. Because naturally, you're trained to elevate the personality, because that's the form through which you engage on these planes, and it's been constructed through the auspices of you and your past experience and the teachers that you've had, parental and otherwise, and how you have come to grips with how a person needs to be on these planes to be important. That's not a higher state, but it's not a bad state either. It's just what it is. So it's not a devaluation, but you will tend to use those things to elevate the relationship that you have as a personality. It's the nature of what we do every single day of our life, and in our working and anything you engage with, or even your relationships with people. We do those kinds of things. That's what it's like here. But this energy is slightly different. It engages with folk to attempt to help them to grow internally, to remember their relationship with the higher state that has no focus on an individual being superior to others because they are linked at that state. Superior is not a word in that language of higher state. Service is a word. If you are really able to help, then helping is what you do the best you can. Whether it's accepted or not is not the deal. That doesn't align with how we're taught here. That's why this shift in frequency has been, let's say, both troublesome and very valuable. Somehow, some way, for some reason, it has been considered by higher states, whatever you think that means, that it is that our species, or our planet, can be helped, or is at a state where help can begin to be given for a purpose that relates to a different understanding. And how that can be implemented is through people that are imperfect. Not perfect, as so many think. So this is what I've been talking about from time to time. Not all the time, that's for sure. But it's one of those things that may be helpful. Personally, I hope that it is true and that it is helpful. What I've tried to talk about in just some notes I gave to myself, the energy relates to helping us to begin to have more ability to handle compassion, as it comes into us like a wave, to handle love as it comes into us like a wave, and perceptions that are so remote from what is normal on this planet. And as it touches our species can actually engage with it as if it can become part of us, rather than something foreign that needs to be thrown out, like what white blood cells do to some of the foreign bacteria that might come in, or foreign objects that might be brought into our bodies. What we do with it can also increase our defenses toward how we believe we need to be as we have been before, with or without our knowledge. What that really means is we tend to protect how we have constructed ourselves without knowing and understanding how we've constructed ourselves. So if perception is increased, the natural inclination is to not be happy with seeing how we engage with others or engage with ourselves. We have to be patient with that, and respectful and kind to ourselves. And this is an aspect of compassion. And recognize that we love ourselves, no matter what it looks like. And we use that love to maintain how it looks like, or to engage slightly different piece by piece, little by little. This is not so simple. In the old days, we would say, as soon as I find that love, I will make myself act like that. And I will be like that. And now I will be superior because I know others aren't doing that because I wasn't doing that before too. Or I'll use fundamental ways of acting so that other people will know that I'm really loving. This is tough for us because none of us do 100% loving, 100% perception, and 100% compassion. And we certainly are vulnerable to pain. Some internal hurts never go away, and they feed how we act. And it's a little bit difficult for us to take a look at that, certainly emotionally or physically. Often we buffer that with an intellectual focus, and it makes it helpful for us to do so from time to time because it stops us from paining all the time. But also, you can notice, you can allow yourself to perceive that hurting and what we say after we're hurting based on the defense of us, as opposed to an understanding that those hurts are a lining we have inside ourselves that are often poked at unknowingly by others, where they are really only being how they were trained to be. They don't know that they're doing that to us. They are only trying to help themselves to be functional relative to them. This is not easy to understand, and not easy or even difficult to even want to understand those kinds of engagements that can occur in life. This is a dilemma because this energy helps us to move towards being okay with us, and also being okay with our personalities' diversities, but not necessarily does it only honor the need that we most often have been trained with to protect ourselves to be, let's say, unable to feel. You're unable to feel if you're aggressive all the time. Because, let's say, defensive instead. You're unable to feel, and then you begin to feel. And then you curl up in a ball in a kind of cave-like feature. Everyone does this, by the way. This is not anybody individually. Everybody does this to some degree, whatever the ball looks like for you. Because it looks different for everybody. And this is truly the nature of an effect of more loving coming in, more perception coming in, more understanding available, more compassion being expressed in frequency. just energy, which touches us all. Now, this is an idea that you may agree with or not. You have the right to agree. You have the right to disagree. It's the nature of us. 8 billion plus people, we all have that nature. And you have the right, honestly, to use it. It's a good thing. I've said it many times, and I grow through me, you grow through you. Every now and then, we might agree with something. Maybe not. I wish you well with that one. So I ended this up by saying, be yourself, don't judge you or others the best you can. I know that that's impossible to do because our training won't let us. And because if you start doing that, you're gonna say, oh my God, who am I? What am I? I've got to assert my value. In other words, maintain how I normally function. Otherwise, I will not be recognized as something as important as I believe I need to be just me, whatever that is in your dialogue with life. And just watch and see what is normal for you. Be kind about it. Understand it. Let it be, and then slowly touch a few things, little by little, and gently keep watching. You'll slow it down a little bit at a time. It's not meant to go snap, snap, now I'm different, and now I'm just like this, because that's not real, not as real as we believe. It might be something that you can inject yourself with for a short period of time. Be okay if the other stuff shows up. Recognize that it's still there, but you change it somehow, even a little bit. That little bit is important. And your ability to watch will increase, allowing you to begin to be aware of energy expanding your perception. But remember, how you assess or analyze it will be based on your past reflexive personality structure. Judging to be right will be elevated. Go slow, gentle this reflex. Gentle the reflex that you have to be wrong. Gentle it, meaning, okay, this may or may not be true. That's gentler. If it is true, then this is probably the right response. If it is true a tiny little bit, maybe this response is a speck too much. Don't put down your system. That system is a system that you've constructed in a manner that helps you, or has in the past helped you, to engage the way you believe engagement needs to be. Later, slowly, that all changes just a little bit at a time. Be okay with that if you can. If it's hard, you'll notice cycles of it's easier there, and now it's more difficult, and now all of a sudden it's a little bit easier, and then it's more difficult. And these are cycles of inner growth. Everyone has them. Be okay with being a human being. I wish you really a lot of good stuff. I have another one, but I think we'll hold on that one until next Thursday. We will still be available next Thursday, and we'll do the best we can. Thank you so much for sending those questions in, and I really appreciate them coming in, because it gives me a chance to talk about things that are very valuable to you, not only valuable to me. Take care, everybody. Here, we're now going to meditate.
Mahasukha Janadatu so te dene se je kun cha do je se la se tan de ye she ro ba tam to be one to be man or good Kadin la ming je shantin so Javirin lo sanchen anjuvi Dongai shidu jantu kolujur Panoyen la denje bonzoche minje senge tila shanteso pome da denje men tetaye Ta son den dan kun cho den bi tu chi ta men ba yi shin ru ba yi ta shi ban chi sa son na wa shu ta shi ban chi sa son na wa shu
And now we'll just do the balancing and grounding. And have a good evening, everybody.